Hello.
Hello.
We've just been checking out a little bit of Carne 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Looks awesome in 3D, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
Really?
Cool.
Anyway, today we're doing the last bit of attachment. That's
Yay.
right. We're doing daycare.
Daycare.
Gotta love a bit of daycare. Yeah, of course you need to know the effects on aggression and the effects on peer relations. That's negative and positive, and then mediating factors, and that's it. And implications.
Mm-hmm.
Should we kick off?
Yeah.
With a definition of social development. Sociability is the tendency to seek and enjoy the company of others and to make personal relationships with them. Social development is the process, is the important bit, the process in which an individual acquires the knowledge, values, social skills and sensitivity to others that enables them to become part of society.
That word was society.
Right. The first part is effects on aggression. These are the negatives. So if they say explain negative effects of daycare, that's aggression. The study for this is the NICHD study, the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. This is a longitudinal study, which means
Well, took place over a long period of time.
with over 1,000 children from diverse families from 10 different locations. And the children and their parents have been assessed at regular intervals to establish the effects of various experiences such as daycare on children's development. When they were studied at the age of 5, the data showed that the more time a child spent in daycare of any kind or quality, the more adults rated them as assertive, disobedient and aggressive. Of those children that experienced more than 30 hours of daycare a week, 17% were rated being aggressive to their peers. Of the children that experienced less than 10 hours a week, only 6% were considered aggressive. Children in full-time, this is the second point, daycare were close to 3 times more likely to show behaviour problems than those cared for by the mothers at home. Evaluation of this. Basically, aggression can be stated differently. The study found that 83% of children who spend up to 30 hours in daycare did not show higher levels of aggression. So it depends how you put the statistic. The 70% is quite low, because 83% didn't show high levels of aggression, is what that's saying. So it depends how you look at it. Also, the mother's sensitivity to a child was found to be a better indicator of reported problem behaviours. So more sensitive mothering, basically being linked to fewer problem behaviours. Basically, higher maternal education and family income predicted lower levels of children problem behaviours. So if the mum's had got a degree and she's got a big house, then it predicts lower levels of behavioural problems.
Yeah.
Basically. And so it shows that children's development is more strongly affected
By factors at home.
Yes. Right. Another weakness, these are all weaknesses, is that the findings are not causal. So you can't say that daycare made aggression. Another weakness is that a Swedish firstborn study showed that childcare arrangements were not associated with aggression. A substantial part of the infant's first year is spent with one or both parents in Sweden. It's the way they do things. It's quite nice. This may mean that the infants are able to form stronger attachments before they start daycare. In other countries, parents may have less time to form secure attachments, and thus the infants do not fare so well in daycare, which may explain why this Swedish study is so contradicted what was found. In addition, daycare in Sweden receives a large amount of financial support from the government and has very low staff-to-child ratios, and thus may be higher quality than in other areas. And the last weakness is that different studies using different operational definitions of aggression find different things. So it depends how you would rate aggression.
Yeah.
Is punching in the face aggression? Is kicking aggression?
Yes.
Is licking aggression?
No, that's just strangeness.
Right. Okay. Right. Now, the next part is peer relations. We do love peer relations. These are the positive effects of daycare.
Yeah.
The study for this is by Field. It isn't a field. It might be a field experiment, but it's by a guy called Field, just because he wants to be awkward. He found that the amount of time spent in full-time daycare was positively correlated with the number of friends children had once they went to school, so it's a correlational study. It is observed that teens who had received full-time, high-quality daycare were rated more popular, having higher self-esteem and greater leadership than the teens who had experienced the most daycare were rated most highly. So it's saying that high-quality daycare leads to development of greater social skills,
Yay!
which is always nice. That's nice. I think that's nice. So they're more popular and have a higher self-esteem. Evaluation of this. Some argue that the quality of daycare determines whether it's positive or negative effects on peer relations. That's not really evaluation, that's more just a point.
Yeah.
Right. The big issue with this is that it's correlational. And so you have correlation versus cause. So we cannot assume that experiences in daycare cause later sociability. We may have merely uncovered a link. It might be, for example, that shy and unsociable children have mothers who are also shy and unsociable, because the temperament is inherited, and therefore more outgoing children who attend daycare, and so, they're more sociable. It's a nice little point there, quite sneaky. Also, most studies of daycare are conducted in centres attended by children from relatively wealthy families that are able to provide excellent facilities and care. And so you should study a low-quality daycare and see what goes on. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's biased samples, basically. A problem with research in this area is that there's many contradictory findings, but perhaps this is not surprising, as there are so many factors that may influence a child's development apart from daycare. What the child's family is like at home, daycare itself is very different quality, time spent in daycare, the age of starting daycare, and etc, etc. Okay?
Yes.
Right. Mediating factors. Basically, how research into attachment and daycare has influenced childcare practices and how to choose the right daycare centre. Yes?
Yes.
So the first thing is the quality of care. And do you know how we assess that? Basically, whether the staff to child ratio is poor, whether there's a high turnover of staff, whether you're looked after by a series of familiar strangers. So it's how many staff there are to each child. So maybe 1-to-1s would get on better than one person looking after 5. Whether there are 3 people working on shifts in a day, and so the child has to work with 3 new people rather than...
Stressful.
Yes, and whether the staff change around, as in they sort of get sacked a lot or something like that. Yeah, sort of. So yeah, that's basically. So researchers indicated that the amount of supervision is important for children to gain benefits from daycare. Like the NICHD study found that daycare staff could provide good quality of care only if the ratios were as low as 3-to-1, which is quite low.
3 children to 1 adult.
Yes. Other mediating factors, individual differences, whether the children are shy. No. Some children find daycare harder to cope with, for example, if they're shy. The child's age and the number of hours. Again, I'm just sort of elaborating on what I've already said. So implications. We'll go back onto implications. So I've said low child to staff ratio. Minimal staff turnover. I kind of said that.
Quality of care.
Quality of care, yeah, I was touching on that. Basically, the amount of verbal interaction between the caregiver and the child is important. Having sufficient stimulation, such as toys, books, and other playthings. Giving it sensitive emotional care, because it's been found with the Harlow's monkey research that emotional care is comfort and affection is as important as physical care. Supported by another study who studied a group of apparently malnourished orphanage children. Despite being given dietary supplements, they remained underdeveloped. But when a new supervisor arrived who gave them better emotional care, they began to improve. That's lovely, isn't it? And training. Research has also shown that quality was associated with the qualification levels of the daycare staff. The higher qualifications of staff, particularly manager of the centre, the better outcome for the children in terms of social development.
Yes.
So that's all. So to go over that last little bit, because that was a bit
confusing.
Mediating factors, which is something that connects. So this could possibly explain daycare and why it's good or bad. The quality of care, and individual differences.
Child's age and number of hours that they
Yes.
spend in daycare.
And then a separate point as the implications of research is that you should have a low child to staff ratio.
Minimal staff turnover.
High quality of care, which is verbal interaction,
And
stimulation, emotional care.
Well-trained staff.
Well-trained staff. And that's all. That's daycare.
That is attachment. We're finished.
I'm sorry for coughing. I have a
We
bit of
hope
sore
this
throat.
has helped. The last section was slightly confusing, but yeah. Look
Listen
in
to
your
it
revision
over and
guides.
over again, and I guarantee you, if you listen to this podcast once a week between now and your exams, I guarantee for like a couple of months, that's all you need, I guarantee you'll get an A.
Listen to it like as you're going to bed.
Just like tidy your room, or just do some stuff. Have a bath, have a shower. If you're listening to this in the shower, hello.
That's kind of creepy.
Right, okay. Thank you seriously though for listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
For the next unit, Unit 2, if you're about to do Unit 2, a little promo here. There are packs available that you can download that have a whole load of information that you can download. Just visit our YouTube channel, WAHEY Productions, or youtube.com/YT, which stands for YouTube, if you've ever wondered. WAHEY Productions, or facebook.com/WAHEY Productions. Thank you for listening. I've been Will.
Bye. I'm Sarah.
Yes, the quiet one that never speaks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.